Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Here we've got John Bailey. Today we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and the James Gunn issues, and excuse us if there's any kind of like weird jokes or any kind of like that kind of thing, this kind of banter that we have between the two of us. So John's pretty clued up on what's been said, both by James Gunn and also some of the actors that are going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is quite interesting, and there's a bit of an implication when it comes to how they're going to do these films going forward. So yeah, basically you want to tell us how it started and so on.
So I'm just currently looking at James Gunn's filmography because I think this plays an important part. So James Gunn, I don't think it can be excused for any of his tweets or anything that he did. However, at the time those tweets were made, James Gunn was known for Tromeo movies, so he was doing is it Tromeo movies?
Troma, but you think it's something to do with Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah, there was Tromeo and Juliet, there was Sergeant Kabukiman, public service announcement, the Tromaville Cafe, Sissies and Toxie, the Toxic Avengers 4, the Ghouls, Melvin Goes to Dinner. There's a number of different things. I mean, this should say, James Gunn's PG porn. There was a number of different things where James Gunn was, I would have thought at that point in time that he wouldn't have considered that he would ever be what you would consider a AAA film director. I use the term AAA because I'm a big gamer, so to me AAA would be the creme de la creme of games.
Yeah.
It's where your big budgets go.
Right.
So these have been dug up by a guy, I forget his name, I mentioned that a bit ago, who ironically has made his own offensive jokes in the past. So one offensive bastard's got another offensive bastard fired.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty bad. But what you've got off the back of it is you've got the Guardians actors who, certainly Zoe Saldana and more prevalent Dave Bautista, who are pretty much insinuating that they may be done with the franchise, if not Marvel altogether. So it would be interesting to see what happens. I suspect that they're committed to doing Infinity War 4 or the next...
Avengers 4, yeah.
Avengers 4, that sort of thing. I suspect they're committed to doing that, but it'll be interesting to see what happens after there because Bautista, I'm just trying to find out what he says. So he started off by saying he pretty much defended James Gunn like one of the most loving, caring, good-natured people I've ever met. And then it was he jumped on the bandwagon again, and this is another one he's saying here. I think today I'll find a good person who spreads the message of equality, unity, sacrifice, responsibility, love, family, forgiveness, redemption, misfit child, female empowerment, and ruin his life. Fuck it, I'll go ahead and empower some fascists while I'm at it. Disclaimer for morons and future views, I'm joking. So basically, he's really going at town with this. Some of the language that he's using is very reminiscent to when he was getting fed up of being in WWE, and, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, but the only one who seems to be playing it down the line so far is Chris Pratt. He's certainly not jumping on either side or rushing to making a statement, but yeah, Dave Bautista definitely is. He's certainly ranting, to say the least. Where do you stand on that, Matt?
It's one of those things, it's like, I think everybody agrees on that the whole situation sucks. I can understand the Disney stance on this.
Absolutely.
But I don't agree with it for a number of reasons. I think it's a bad move. I think it's a very hypocritical move because basically the problem is, the issue is that this was a problem for them, but it was around already and known to be around at the time when they hired him. And a lot of the things that he was saying wasn't just because he's a sick, vile human being. He was the trauma guy. They hired the trauma guy. This was his job, this kind of humour. And they knew that going into this. All of a sudden it's a problem where it's instant dismissal. It makes me wonder if there was something else going on behind the scenes that maybe complicated things a little bit more. Like maybe this was an excuse to get rid of him. I can't see why though, because obviously he directed two massive films that made him so much more money than they should have done. And this guy was also going to be a big deal in part of Phase 4 of the MCU going forward. It wasn't just he was going to do Guardians 3. He was going to be doing these sort of creative decisions when it came to the more cosmic movies in the MCU. So any sort of more like if they did any more Thor films or anything like Captain Marvel or anything like that going forward, or any spin-offs, which we kind of hinted at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. James Gunn was like the guy, the creative sort of leader on that, and now he's gone. So, you know.
I mean, for very similar reasons. I mean, one of his tweets that he came with on July 22nd, what will you do when the cyber Nazis attack you? Who will stand by you? Who will cowardly distance themselves from you? Who will punish you for horrible jokes in the past instead of defending you for inspiring millions? Now, that I think that's possibly a wrestling... That's Batista. So, yeah, I think that's potentially a wrestling reference because that was one of The Rock's phrases, the millions and millions.
Right.
And what would be really interesting then, so if they can go back and do that to James Gunn, they would really want to be taking a look at what's gone on in WWE through what was known as the Attitude Era. Right. What next? Are they going to be sort of screwing Dwayne Johnson's career for what he came out with? Because he made a complete career out of inappropriate jokes when he was in WWE. Absolutely did. Yeah. It was often more entertaining watching his promos than it was his matches, because he's always had that good sense of humour, whether he were playing what you'd call a traditional good guy or a bad guy. He could play it, he always had a way of doing that. So, but yeah, again, you can't defend what he said, but they were out there, weren't they?
Yeah, and that's the guy they hired. It'd be kind of like hiring Jim Carrey like back in the mid-90s or something, and saying, we really like you in this new film that we're doing with you, but can you just dial down some of the kind of like hyperactive comedy that you do? It's like, well, that's what you hired, that's what you get, So, like I say, there's a number of ways of looking at it, but I think in terms of the implications for the decision to fire him, it's not really great in terms of the MCU, and I think it's pissed off a lot of fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was looking on, because Ant-Man is out in the UK this week, and a lot of people were pissed off that got delayed because of the World Cup, and the advertising promotion campaign has been on like social media, like Facebook. If you go in the comments, when you'll see like an Ant-Man hits theatres this week kind of ad, it's pissed off fans saying, hey, we're pissed off that this film has been now spoiled left, right and centre by everybody that's seen this film in other countries a month ago. And second of all, do we really want to be supporting a company that fires people for problems that weren't a problem back when they were hired, kind of thing. So it's pissed off a lot of fans. It's not just, kind of a few people in the kind of corners of the political awareness side of things. It's just the mainstream people. You can see this for what it is.
And I think it's Salma Blair. I don't know what exactly affiliation she's got to the MCU off the top of my head, but she started a change petition to get 200,000 views, to get 200,000 signatures.
To rehire him.
Yeah, which I think it has to get discussed in Congress at that level.
I think it's at 300,000 from what
I've
heard.
So it'll have to be discussed in Congress, but ultimately, the way you've got to look at it is, how are these tweets going to be seen now they're out there, reflecting on Mickey Mouse? Because we all may be Marvel fans, Star Wars fans, but ultimately this is a reflection on Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take the piss by saying that, but it is that's the Disney thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a wholesome image. Yeah, you accept that Disney do adult movies, but I remember back in the 90s, Ugly Kid Joe, there were a band called Ugly Kid Joe.
Yeah, they were good. And America's Least Wanted.
Yeah, and they'd almost signed a huge deal. I forget what the situation was, but then it was with Disney. I'm sure it was with Disney, and then they recorded a song about a lunatic running rampage in a theme park, and it pretty much destroyed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much destroyed Ugly Kid Joe. They are back together, and they're actually sort of...
The last album is pretty good.
Yeah, they always were good. They did one of the best covers I've ever heard is Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Didn't know you liked them, to be fair.
Yeah, it was the B-side to Cats in the Cradle. There was the live version of that was the B-side to Everything About You.
Yeah.
And it was a toss-up as to which side of the cassette, as it were back then, you actually preferred listening to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something similar, and I just hope it doesn't ruin James Gunn's career. I suspect it won't, because he's always got trauma he can fall back on. And if anything, I would suspect you're going to get a lot of people supporting him. But you've got like Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista. It'll be interesting to see what Chris Pratt does, because it's taken him ages to build his career. So I think what was he doing? He was doing a stand-up comedy show not so long ago. Not stand-up comedy. It was a comedy show, Parks and Recreation.
Oh yeah,
like
when he was a bit heavier, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he used to put weight on specifically to play a character.
Yeah.
So he's gone from that to being
jacked.
To being a well-respected actor, and you can sort of understand why he's balancing things at the minute. Batista, he's come from a world of wrestling. He can go back from where he came, and he can make, he could probably make $10-15 million in a year having a run in WWE.
Yeah.
I suspect whatever he comes out with isn't going to destroy him because he's a certain character. It's kind of like a Stallone, Schwarzenegger type character. He's best when he says very little, which to be honest, it does surprise me how well he came off as Drax because I wouldn't have put him down for that at all.
I liked him in a few things. I quite liked him in Spectre as, was it Mr. Hinks, I think he was called, so I could ignore the pain thing. So yeah, I think he's got a bit of a career that he can fall back on. So
yeah, that's very true. And failing that, he could model for calendars.
Yeah.
Which Q could buy.
Oh yeah, get Topher in on that as well.
Topher, absolutely. It'd be. But in all seriousness, I just think is it over? I think the question that we have to ask is it overreacting? You've got to look at. I think what we need to do is we need to look at the tweets. We need to look at what has been written
and when they were said.
And we have got not necessarily when they were said. Because we know that's another thing altogether.
Context.
But I think you need to have a look at each tweet and ask yourselves whether or not what he's written in respect of each tweet is kind of acceptable or not. Now the fact is, he was writing tweets. The tweets that he wrote, he wasn't working for Disney at the time. So not only do you have to consider what's he written in the tweet, but you then also got to consider what has he written in terms of tweets, commentary, all that sort of thing, since working for Disney. What sort of work has he done?
He's apologised for it before all this.
Absolutely. Has he done any sort of, there's that charity in America where children can come meet people.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll have done things like that. These are things that aren't reported on.
Yeah, the context of it. So
it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one for me for a couple of reasons, which I'm not going to go into. But I don't know. It's a bit different to. Let's look at the Corey Feldman thing, for instance. Something happened to him and Corey Haim when they were children. That's disgusting. That needs stamping out. James Gunn has made a few inappropriate jokes. Frankie Boyle makes a living from inappropriate jokes. There's a big difference between an inappropriate joke and acting out on something. And it's where you draw the line, and it's that sort of thing. So yeah, you can't, this is, I've said this a number of times. When I was younger, I am so grateful that I missed the social media generation by about 5 years, because I could have,
really short time.
I would have been committed to, I'd have committed myself to an awful lot of public viewing out there with some of my more irrational behaviours.
Yeah.
And so I've got to be grateful of that. But should we give James Gunn a break? I probably so, because he's inspired millions. Let's face it, he has. There's been an inspiration of millions. He's taken a band of Marvel characters who were not meant to do anything, and it's inspiring people who, this band of sort of people are not meant to be able to do anything. Yeah, this band of misfits, not only are they doing things, but they're saving lives, they're pulling people together, showing misfits do work. And I'm quite sure there's people out there who feel that they can relate to that, and that's suddenly been taken away from them. And I think that also should also be considered. So if Guardians do continue, I hope they get a director who has been able to
replicate that.
Yeah.
Cool, we'll better leave it there now because we're running out of time. So, we'll do some future videos on this and we'll see how this develops. But cheers for coming on anyway.
Thank you very much for having me in person.
And Brandix Reviews, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, obviously, and Facebook. But for now, I'll just leave it there and say bye.